The 90s Spider-Man animated series was an introduction to many iconic characters for many people. Carnage was one of these characters, appearing in the Season 3 episodes Venom Returns and Carnage. Carnage in the show was voiced by Scott Cleverdon, who did an amazing job voicing the character, and for me is the definitive voice of Carnage to this day. I even hear his voice when reading Carnage in the comics.
I am yours, man. We're gonna wreak glorious carnage throughout the land.
Carnage, eh? I like the sound of that. You promised us carnage. Deliver it.
What's wrong? Cassidy is gone. There is only carnage!
Not only did Scott do an amazing job voicing Carnage, but the writers in the episode itself did a pretty decent job portraying Carnage, given the circumstances they were in with the censors. In fact, I believe it's the best adaptation of Carnage we've ever seen. Although Carnage and Cletus weren't out brutally killing like they do in the comics, we have to keep in mind that this show was aired with children in mind, and on top of that, had much stronger censors than most. Some of these censors range from Spider-Man being unable to punch, characters being unable to say kill, and not even being allowed to call the Sinister Six by their name. They went by the Insidious Six instead. If they can't even say the word kill, it's definitely out of the question to have a character be doing so on screen. So now you may be thinking, Carnage's defining actions and traits involve him killing. How can a good adaptation get around that? Well, let's start with Cletus Cassidy. He first appears in Venom Returns, which opens with the police surrounding his house. Cletus immediately laughs at their suggestion of nobody getting hurt and asks what fun that would be.
Nobody gets hurt? Man, what fun would that be?
Then we cut to the Bugle, where Robbie states that Cassidy has done things even the Post wouldn't print.
Jonah, Cassidy's not a man, he's a monster. He's done things even the Post wouldn't print.
This is a clever way of not saying exactly what Cletus has done, and because of this, we can't rule out Cletus being a serial killer or doing some of his other crazy feats from the comics, such as burning down the St. Est's home for boys. Anyways, Cletus lures Detective Lee and her men into a trap. Cletus had a dynamite belt and intended to blow everyone, including himself, up. Spider-Man comes in and saves the day, and Cletus is sent to Ravencroft, where he is in the neighboring cell of Eddie Brock. Here we see Cletus and Eddie's rivalry developing, like it did in the comics, as they start arguing and start getting a dislike for each other.
Hey you! Shut up! Hey man, I could eat you for breakfast. Oh yeah? I'd give you indigestion, man.
When Cletus becomes Carnage, he is sent by Baron Mordo to help Venom steal the probe from Stark Industries. Carnage's power is displayed through his different abilities that he has, such as his hand constructs and his tendrils. Once their mission is complete, Cletus still isn't satisfied. He wants to have some fun. He grabs the barely conscious Spider-Man and offers Venom the opportunity to help kill him with him.
Dad! Ready for some father-son quality time? Between the two of us, there won't be enough left of Spider-Man to fit in a matchbox. But we'll try, won't we?
This actually happened in the comics too. That's not the only reason why this moment is great. It showcases Carnage's bloodlust and his desire to kill simply because he can. Cletus's endless desire to harm is once again shown when he is being drained of the life force he's absorbed. More on that later, and he says,
"It's taking forever. I got people to torment."
The urn is not yet full. We need the energy of a few more lives.
Only a few? Too bad.
Also, remember how I said that Carnage had absorbed life force? Also remember how I said it'd be unreasonable to expect a show that won't even say the word kill to have a serial killer? Well, those two go hand in hand here. Carnage kills by absorbing the life force of others. They instantly go unconscious and won't even wake up until their life force is returned. Their souls do go to the Dark Dimension though if Dormammu comes to Earth, but they are effectively dead on Earth. We also see Carnage absorbing life force in the middle of the city, causing so much chaos and easily stopping anyone who tries to attack him, including tearing through tanks.
Just like sardine cans. Snack time!
This rampage is just like the one Carnage goes on in Maximum Carnage, or any story really where he's free in the city. This is a great way of going around the killing censorship and still had Carnage essentially killing without him actually killing people.
I hope your life force isn't as useless as your life.
Carnage has some interesting relationships with other characters in his comics. He usually has his favorite people to torment in his stories, such as the Morale family or his therapists. This Carnage is no different, as he deliberately goes after Detective Lee to drain her life force, even though he can just go on another rampage to get some more life force. He also remembers Spider-Man from their previous conflict and goes out of his way to try and kill him many times. He also has a similar relationship with Venom in the comics, calling him Dad, and starting the classic father-son rivalry they have. They also frequently get into fights and presumably try to kill or stop each other. This Carnage is also called Unstoppable by Madam Web, unless Spider-Man joins unlikely allies. This results in the classic Venom and Spider-Man team up against Carnage, just like in the comics.
All right. Not that you'll be much help, but I can't do this alone. We're partners. For now.
Partners? Am I out of my mind?
Carnage's design is also ripped straight from the comics, with his classic red and black symbiote pattern with black teeth and a pink mouth. It's just like Mark Bagley's classic Carnage art.
We needed one more life force. And you're elected!
Cassidy!
If one person deserves this more than him, it's you!
So wrapping things up, although he's not the exact same serial-killing psychopath from the comics, Carnage from Spider-Man the Animated Series is a very good adaptation of the character, and gets Carnage correctly at his core. To me at least, it's the best Carnage we've ever gotten, and it feels very true to the character. It was also my introduction to Carnage, and for that, it'll always be a special adaptation for me. As mentioned earlier, Scott Cleverdon did an amazing job voicing both Carnage and Cletus Cassidy. I'd love to see him reprise the roles again someday. I feel that this version of Carnage is the definitive version of Carnage outside of the comics. I also feel that Scott Cleverdon is the definitive voice actor for Carnage. He truly gave the character of Carnage a voice.
Think of the damage we can do now, man!